Pilots can sometimes have an eagerness to get to their destination. This eagerness can be because of family, friends, relationships, or they just want to be home and not have a unscheduled overnight. For example, if a pilot flew 9 sectors one day, and on the very last one, there's a huge thunderstorm between them and the arrival destination, even though it's risky, the pilot may say, hey, I'll take the chance and go through it because I want to go home, you know? And if something happens, the pilot is blamed for not thinking properly, and they should know when to just call off the flight and say this flight's not happening, it's not safe. This is commonly referred to as get there itis. Once I got my private pilot's license, I rented an airplane to go on my first solo flight as a certificated private pilot. I knew this moment was going to be so special to me. I got a weather briefing that morning and it was clear skies. I wanted to do a cross-country flight, which meant going from one airport to another that's at least 50 nautical miles away. I was leaving from Stewart Airport to Daytona Beach. With a distance of 120 nautical miles and having many alternate airports to go to, if I had an emergency situation, I would have no issue finding or gliding to another airport. Once at the airport, I conducted a thorough pre-flight of the airplane and rechecked the weather. It was still pretty clear VFR, VMC, and no issues were projected along my route of flight. Once I started up, I got a taxi clearance, departed VFR, picked up a flight following, on the way to Daytona. I felt great about this event. Even though I had went on solo flights before, this moment was surreal because I had an actual private pilot's license. So that meant I can go anywhere. And so I chose to go to Daytona. And I just rented an aircraft to go to a different place. That freedom you have is so unmatched by anything else. I felt literally on top of the world. To my surprise, as I was about 20 or 30 miles north of Stewart Airport, just abeam Vero Beach, there was a storm building up just ahead. I had a Sentry with me, which showed me traffic, and it updated me on the weather, and it showed that this weather system had been blowing towards the west and was traveling north. I initially thought that I would be fine if I continued, but I knew that I would still feel some effects, maybe some light turbulence, some rain showers and things like that. But I also knew that I didn't have an instrument rating if I needed to use it. And I had an instructor once tell me, just because you have an instrument rating doesn't mean you should put yourself in instrument conditions. It's used to get out of it. So because I didn't have any, I was like, it doesn't make sense that as a private pilot I even attempt to do something like this, because if it goes bad, then that's entirely on me. I thought about it for a few more seconds because I really wanted to complete the flight, and it would have been so cool if I did. But I knew deep down that I needed to return to Stewart, because if I got caught up in that weather system, it could have ended badly, or it could have not, but I'd rather not take that chance. As a brand new certificated pilot, it was not worth the risk. Once I returned to the field, the storm had developed much worse, and it stopped moving to the west, and it was just moving north towards Daytona, which made me happy because that was my destination. And if I arrived at Daytona and that weather system was there, then I would not have been able to get out of it because I had no instrument. So I probably would have had to do an overnight or had to have come back really late, things like that. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to share that story about, get there itis. I hope you guys fly safe. It's fine if you have to do an overnight. It's fine if you can't make the flight. There's always a next day. You only have this one life to live, so treat it as such. Peace.